Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Brandon here from Mortgage HQ, and today I want to share with you a little bit about how I bought my first property without a deposit and how you could apply that in your situation if you're sort of looking for your first investment property or your first property in general. I'm going to share 3 small lessons along the way, and then if you stay till the end, I'm going to share with you one thing that I definitely do differently if I could start this journey again. And I promise you, if you're sort of in the beginning of your journey and you apply these lessons, you're going to save a lot of money, a lot of time, and you're going to be able to buy your property a lot sooner and achieve your goals. So if you've seen in another video, I bought my first property in 2015. At the time, I walked into a bank and they asked me, hey, do you want a pre-approval? Because they saw my income coming in. So I got a pre-approval for purchase price of around $550,000 at the time. To be completely honest, I didn't know really what to do with it because it's very hard to buy anything at that price range. And so at the time I was working for an insurance mortgage broker, and so they told me, okay, well actually if you rearrange your application just slightly and then got a larger deposit, you would be able to buy $700,000 property, which is the path we went down. So the lesson number 1 is actually getting a mortgage advisor on board, because a lot of the time when you're talking to the bank direct, they might not see the best opportunity for you, whereas a mortgage advisor, they work with all the providers on the market, they see things a little bit differently and may give you a better outcome in terms of borrowing and sometimes even those interest rates and in terms of structures as well. Secondly, they actually showed me how I could get a bigger deposit very easily, because my mum and dad actually had a property at the time out in East Auckland, and East Auckland, most properties are going to be over $1 million. And what they could do is go back to the bank and just go, hey, can we get a top up to get a deposit for my son, or maybe in some of your cases, daughter? If they ask the bank for a top up, that's basically the bank saying, hey, because your property is worth a lot more, we're going to give you $100,000 so that you can give it to your kids so that they can buy a property. And for this $100,000, they can just put it on interest only. And if you know, interest rates are at the moment sort of in that early 2%. So it's very, very cheap to just get that deposit up front at around 2%. And so that's how I got my deposit. So they didn't feel any financial effects because I was able to use the board income or the rental income in my case, because I rent out the whole house. That was enough to cover for my mortgage and the interest on their deposit as well. So effectively, I didn't have to put up any money and my parents felt no difference financially. That's a very important lesson, just looking at different ways of raising a deposit without using your own savings. And the third lesson is patience, patience, patience. Now, I've been in the mortgage industry for around 5-6 years now. I've been writing a lot of loans, and one of the things that I find interesting is that a lot of the time clients take around 5 to 6 months in general. That's not a real statistic, but it's just working with tons of clients. I find that 5 to 6 months is sort of the average on when they find their first property. And a lot of the time it's a lot of weekends given up to look at properties. The thing about property is that you actually have to go and do it. Some people already in the industry, they might understand it a lot quicker. But if you're a nurse, doctor, accountant or engineer, and you're sort of getting into properties for the first time, it does take a bit of time to get used to. So doing those open homes consistently, and some properties investors say, hey, you need to look at 50 properties and then go to 10 auctions and then fail, and then you might win just one. So if you work with the numbers and patience, just be consistently going out there to look at properties, you are definitely going to find something. You don't always have to worry that prices are always going to go up. Look, here's the thing, right? If you get your foot in the door, that's more important, because once you're on the property ladder, it's going to be a lot easier to build up the equity, because your first property is never going to be the one that you're going to stay in forever. And that sort of brings me to the one thing that I would do differently, because at the time when I bought my property, I think it was at a good price. I looked at the market, what was selling here and there, and I thought it was a decent property. This is actually the property I'm living in now. 5 years later, I've been renting it out and I renovated it. Now I moved back in. Although it was a decent property at the time, I wish I spent more time learning about properties and investments. What do I mean by that? Seeing properties not just as a thing that like, hey, I want to find something that I really want to live in. But to be honest, for your first property, how can you afford something that you're going to live in for the next 20, 30 years? Your first property is not your last. And so the more important thing for me was to find a property that is a good investment and is going to build up equity a lot faster. Now, fast track to sort of 5 years later, I look at this property. At the time was a decent buy, but from an investment perspective, average return in the market is around 7% on capital gains. This one is performing well below, and I wish if I learned more about investing and then look at properties as an investment, I could do a lot better and I would build up more equity a lot sooner. Then I will be able to use that equity on my next property a lot sooner as well and do much better on the next upgrade. So if you guys want to learn more about investing in properties or just property investment in general, we've got a free 21-day email course that you can download. You can go on our website, mhq.co.nz, or you can go into the description below. You can find that link and subscribe to the 21 days property investment course. Otherwise, if you want to boost up that knowledge as well, we've got 3 masterclasses from beginner level in stage 1, where you're sort of just doing your first mortgage. How do you structure that and pay that off quicker? Secondly, how you could build your first 3 property investment portfolio and understand properties a little bit more. And then thirdly, for more advanced property investors, how they can grow their portfolio infinitely and really just maximize the return on their investments. So until the next video, I really encourage you guys to just keep learning about properties or investments in general, because those are the things that's going to help you hit your financial goals for your family. So until next time, see you guys again.